Title: Something to Say. Tania speaking.
They found me in the morning unresponsive, and that part of my life is a blur because I don't recall much of it. My last memory was having dinner, and then I'm hearing beep, beep. I'm thinking, I don't know, I couldn't work out what was going on. It was so scary because I couldn't figure it out. And then when I got my vision back, I could see the machines, I could see the nurses. Still didn't know what was going on. Still had no one come and say, "Oh, you've had a stroke." They were just working on me. From then on, I just, had to fight my way back out to be where I am today. Had to fight for every little thing I've got.
Tania talking with friends. Tania.
There's plenty of times there that, I was in pain and I just needed someone to, do something for me that I couldn't do because I couldn't move, and I couldn't express how I was feeling, so I couldn't get the help that I needed. It was very frustrating, very scary, and a lonely place. Yeah, very lonely.
Tania with family. Tania.
All those emotions were running through me. What do I do? What can I do? What's going to happen? I can't do anything about what's happening. I can't tell anyone anything. I can't move. It was just horrible. Had no control over anything. They were doing things for me, to me. They didn't include me. They didn't look at me. They didn't take 5 minutes out of their time to, just to sit and say hello and this is going on and this is why I'm doing this and that. The human connection was lost. And I believe that, they need to be trained in that human connection. There's that special part there that's missing. It's all about getting the person well, but even when you get them well, they still need a human connection side to get to that well point. I hated the fact that I had to have male nurses care for me. I couldn't voice that opinion until I got my voice back many months later. I hated the fact that they just come and, they'd throw you over that side, roll you over that side, do what they were doing. You were just an object. There was nothing, there was no human connection there. You were just that person in that bed that they had to go and do what they had to do, and that was all. Well, see, in the nursing home when I was living in there, I used to look forward to 1 day a week in there. Only one day a week. 1 day a week I'd get a bath. That was the only wash I got all week, 1 hour. Not even bed baths.
Tania with friends. Interviewer.
Who was the first person that noticed you were trying to communicate?
That'd be my hubby Len. That was a great day. He was in there talking to me, and I was still in intensive care then, and he's asked me questions like, if you can understand me, blink your eyes. Once for yes and twice for no, and I blinked, and then he asked me more questions, and I continually got the response, and it was just a relief. It was such a relief to finally have someone know that I'm there and to acknowledge me and be able to ask those questions. Because, from then on, he told the doctors and the nurses that I was there, and then, they started to, ask the questions and ask if I was okay. And so if it wasn't for him, I'd probably be, who knows where. I don't know. I got my thumb to took about a month and a half before I could get my thumb to move. And hubby would stick the phone in my hand, and I was able to press down onto letters, and he'd move it around, and then from then on I slowly got my hand to move, and I was able to hold the phone and spell what I wanted. And so, then I was able to communicate with him, my daughter, the doctors, the nurses, and tell them how I was feeling, what I wanted, if I needed anything. Yeah, it was great. Yesterday was liver and...
Tania with friends.
They won't have any. I convinced Julie to have one with me.
Interviewer.
Can you tell me about the first day that you managed to say a word?
That day is a day that I'll always cherish. I was outside in the sun and I always used to practice, swallowing and trying to get that to happen, and all of a sudden it happened. Like I felt a swallow and another one and another one, and then I went and got someone to get my OT, and she came in and felt the swallow and yeehaw, it was like, Christmas Day, and then I started to try and vocalise, and it took a while, but the first word I ever said was my daughter's name, Faith, and I kept practicing that, and one day she came in and she started talking to me. I said, Faith. Well, she cried. I cried. We were all crying because, amazing.
Interviewer.
Tania, what advice would you give to staff supporting people who don't have conventional communication skills?
I'd say to them, always include that person, acknowledge that person. Look at me like I'm you. Think of me if this is you and me in your shoes. Take the 5 minutes of your day to say hello, how you been doing. Even if you don't get a response, continually look into their eyes, say hello, how you feel, and even if they don't respond, even if you tell them a bit about what you've been doing for the day, mightn't include what they've been doing for you, but we went and had this for lunch today. It's just that human connection, that person-centered approach that has to be there. Without it, it's just going to be the goals that people are trying to reach when they're non-verbal are going to be missed, because they're not going to look for that little movement, that little eye contact. That it's just they're never going to get beyond where they are. So my advice to the staff, if I was training them, I'd train them in basic human rights. Just because someone doesn't have a voice doesn't mean they got nothing to say. Because they say it in different ways. Like, they'll say, this person hits out, or this person does this. But, that might be their way of trying to get their attention. Trying to say, hey, I want this, or... You got to just think differently. For about 2 minutes. Because, when you can't talk, you want to use any skill or anything you have to try and get someone's attention. So, of course, you're going to reach out for them or try and touch them, and that little touch might turn into something bigger, So, if you're not looking for those little things and you're just doing your routine, what I call it, then you'll miss it, and it's sad to miss something like that.
Tania with friends.
What we done.
It's nice. That's what I did.
And nanny on some days.
Produced by 3x3 Films in association with Community Disability Alliance Hunter.